Hi everybody, my name is Nicole Jones. I'm the Associate Head Coach with Michigan State Gymnastics. We're going to give you a look at our leotard closet and also show you some behind the scenes of some of our designs. All right, so we are here in our leotard closet. As you can see, it kind of starts here. We have all of our leotards, the competition ones, and then down below are all of our practice leotards or warm-up leotards. We're in a contract with Sylvia P, so we've been really lucky for the last 3 years to be working with them. We actually got 5 leotards this year, which was kind of crazy. It's the most that we've ever gotten. Usually about 3 or 4 depending on the year, but this past season was very special. So we, of course, had to make something for the national championship. So 5 designs this year, but like I said, mostly 4. All right, I'm gonna take you guys upstairs to our office to kind of get behind the scenes of some of the design process. Kind of typical things. I feel like I might have some ideas of things that I like, things that maybe I've seen. Obviously the search engine on Instagram, I feel like is my best friend. You look at one thing and then, multiple other things will continue to pop up with, different beading designs or cutouts, backs, things like that. Sometimes, like other people I'm sure have mentioned, it might be a dress, it might be honestly like a figure skating outfit. I honestly Google a lot of like Greek or like Spartan, like warrior armor, or just like something like things like that to try to get kind of like that vibe to see what kind of things pop up. But after I kind of just like save some pictures of things or ideas that I like, Sylvia P then puts what they call mood boards together. And they're with different things, whether it's things that I've seen, whether it's things that they have seen that they're like, hey, we think this kind of fits your vibe, or kind of like the feel of kind of Michigan State Gymnastics. And so then we kind of use, obviously, as you can see here, like they have like our actual colors to try to have some of our visions come to life. This is one of the selling points when I was originally going from Alpha Factor to looking for a new Leo company to finally nailing down Sylvia P, was just some of the modern ways that they do things, whether it's the vision boards, whether it was with materials, different things that they were willing to kind of go out and look for us to kind of make our leotard stand out and be unique. I think they really understand that Michigan State Gymnastics is really known for their leotards now, and so especially this past season, trying to continue to push the envelope, like I said, kind of go out and look for different materials and things for us, so that if it's something that I had envisioned for Leo, that they can help bring it to life. They never say no. They always try to figure out a way to make it happen, which I really appreciate. And then just how quick they respond and get back and are willing to kind of continue to bounce ideas. I think they have been awesome. This is the leotard that we wore at Big Ten Championships this past season. When starting the design process with this one, originally wanted to do something all green because we really hadn't done that before. Usually had obviously different colors mixed in, and actually it was my sister who was like, you need an all green Leo. And I was like, I'm scared, right? Like you worry about just the monochromatic all green. And so I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe if we can do a lot of textures or put something else into it, it might be okay. And so I tried to run with that idea to do something different. This Leo I felt like had a lot of different edits. Like we kept going like through the process a lot back and forth of like what I was looking for in terms of like textures and colors and things being different, and then the actual design. When Sylvia P sends over, once we get to the design, they send over for like more of a fit, a Leo, but with no stones on it. So the girls laugh at me because the very first time they did this, because the very first year we used Sylvia P, they sent it with stones, and then the last 2 years they have not. And so when they tried it on, not this one, it was actually like our throwback Leo, they put it on 0 stones. I was like, girls, we're gonna do something different this year. We're gonna be the first team that uses no stones. And they looked at me and thought I was absolutely crazy. They were like, you're joking, right? And I actually am pretty good at being like very serious. And so they were like, wait, are you being serious, or are there really going to be stones? And I'm like, okay, yeah, there is really going to be stones. But they were like, oh my God, like they were really concerned that I was being serious and our Leos were going to be rhinestoneless. But yeah, they didn't think it was funny. We obviously wanted to try the open shoulders look, but we knew it would be an acquired taste, that it might be something that not everybody loved. But what I liked was the way that we kind of incorporated a few different things. So I wanted some, I don't know if viney or like floral is like the right idea, but that was kind of like the look that I wanted to bring in to kind of make it a little more dimensional, like two-dimensional. We had this one that was just kind of from this dress, if you can look, is where we kind of got the idea. Another way, if you can like see kind of like the texturedness, I think that's what's hard. It's like sometimes what you see on a dress, you can't 100% get on a Leo. This one I didn't like. It looked like a shirt under like a tank top, or, you know what I mean, like it had layers, but for me it would look like it was multiple shirts on top of each other, so I wasn't a fan. I liked the look of this back actually with the Spartans, but there was something about the front. I didn't like the way it laid over the chest area, but there were pieces that I was like, yes, I love the shoulders, I love the look of the like how it connects with the lace up in the back. And then obviously ultimately we got to the point of, you know, where we are now with the open shoulders. Like I mentioned, if you see even on this drawing, it wasn't supposed to have the tie-up back. It was just supposed to have kind of the look of the tie-up back. And actually last minute, headquarters brought the idea and we decided to run with it, that we actually we loop it through and lace it, and it looks terrible right now because it obviously not laying on somebody's back, and then we tie it up. But this was, like I said, an acquired taste. I think it was something that we knew. Actually, I even thought the girls might not love this Leo, and they were obsessed with it. And that surprised me. I thought it would be a little more like, I don't know, because I knew that it had the shoulders that were different, the tie-up back that was just different, right? It was just, like I said, an acquired taste. And they actually, the seniors begged to wear it for senior night, and I was like, but I'm saving it for Big Tens, you know, because we're the only green school in our conference, right? And very few schools across the country are green, so we have a lot of pride in wearing green. And so, you know, especially at Big Tens, we were like, we have to wear green. Like, for us, it's like, I don't want to wear all black, or I don't want to wear, I have to have a Leo that's green. I just feel like that's just who we are, so it's a big piece of it. I don't know if any, you know, kind of the general public might know, or the Gymternet might know, but like this, like key logo right here, this is like a sign of like our athletic department for athletics. And so even if, let's say maybe we didn't have a Spartan head, which I don't think we would ever do something that didn't say like Michigan State or something like that on it, this is kind of like that symbol of, you know, Michigan State as well. So again, just little things to kind of continue to incorporate. Even if you look at this one, it's kind of like the same. Like you have it here in the mesh design. So like this one obviously said Spartans on the back, but then this was another way that we tried to kind of tie in Michigan State. Something new from this past season that has been different than years past is our Leos have to go through branding, our branding department here on campus. So that has put a little bit of a stick in the spokes in terms of design and just the openness to be a little more creative, just because now we obviously have to go through branding to make sure that it is, you know, on brand for Michigan State. So certain colors, fonts, things like that. On one of our Leos, for even this past season, that actually was the one that we wore at regional final. That Leo is completely different than it was supposed to look like because of branding. It actually was the Leo that I originally wanted like multiple Spartan heads on it, and branding said no, we can only have one logo. Like, so we had to kind of come up with a completely different design for that one. And for the longest time, I had no idea what I was going to do. I was like, you know, you have an idea in your head, and I was like, well, this is what I wanted. I wanted the multiple Spartan heads. And honestly, then, you know, going back to the drawing board, it ended up being the best thing ever because I kind of switched my thinking, and, you know, what we wore at regional finals, kind of like that Spartan warrior, like that Spartan armor ended up, you know, being what it was. And I had to look back and I was like, I think it was like Oklahoma maybe had a Leo that had a lot of like OUs on it this year. Michigan debuted a new Leo that had like all the M's on it this year. So in hindsight, I'm like, okay, well, it all ended up working out because there were other teams that kind of had, you know, some of that same thought process. This was the original design, so it was gonna be kind of like that gunmetal. We hadn't done anything like it, so again, trying to do something just different that we hadn't done in the past. So wanted to use this kind of like grayish, wet look. And like, if you look at this picture, it was gonna have like this, you know, neck. It was gonna be all stoned, and then it was gonna have, this whole front was gonna be all stones and just like 3 giant Spartan heads. And then the back was going to kind of crisscross. There was going to be stones on this, kind of more at the top than at the bottom, but it was going to be, you know, kind of all blinged out. But then when I had sent this original idea, like the picture drawing of it, to branding, they didn't like the idea of the 3 logos, and so it was like, okay, now what? And so I tried to take the same design and tried to just find some other things. So we tried to do something maybe like if this was all stones and we just did all of the like the key prints, you know, do we try to do something like that? Do we try, like we even did it in maybe like green. I just tried to throw different ideas around. Actually got that idea because Mike found a shirt on Instagram that, you know, it pops up, and he ended up ordering it, but it was like this shirt that had all of these like big giant logos that was very similar to our athletics logo. And I was like, oh, what if we try to just do that on the leotard? But it didn't look as cool as the shirt that Mike had. So then went back to the drawing board again and was like, okay, I can't take this idea and turn it into what I originally wanted. And I just kind of went kind of back to scratch and was just searching on Instagram, and, you know, random things came up. And then I was like, okay, in my head, you know, I'm like, I always tell the girls, we have to speak into existence what we want to happen. And like for us, it was like, we were going to nationals. Like there was no other like option. We were going. You know, once we got there, I'm like, this is gonna be a battle. No matter who we compete against, it's gonna be a battle. And so I tried to run with that idea of like going to battle and making sure that we had our suit on, like our armor, to go to battle, so that we are almost like invincible, right? Like no matter what came at us, we had our armor on. And so I ended up kind of scratching the multiple Spartan head idea and ran with the kind of Spartan armor theme to go with the gunmetal print. And honestly, this was probably my favorite design of the whole year. It ended up being perfect. And then even like going back and again, like seeing it in photos, how fierce it looked, it was perfect for what played out. You know what I mean? I think that was the biggest thing. I was like, if the story of what actually happened didn't happen, then I'm like, I don't think this Leo would have been this cool. But the fact that the vision and like what we wanted the Leo to be, and then watching the girls literally like be absolutely fearless competing, it was like, yeah, they had their armor on, there was no fear, they were gonna get the job done. And so I think that was the coolest thing, is like you said, watching them embody kind of, you know, what the Leo was all about. We wore this one at the national championships, but we originally didn't even have a leotard to wear at nationals, like a new leotard. Obviously we had leotards, but we did not have a new Leo to wear at national championships. And I felt terrible because the last 2 years I had something, and for whatever reason, the year that we probably had the best shot to make it, we used our Leos. We wore them all throughout the year and didn't save one. And we finished at regionals on Saturday, and on Sunday I texted Danielle and I was like, how do I not have a Leo for them? Like, this is unbelievable. Like, what am I gonna do? I was like, they can't go to nationals and not have a new Leo. And so we ended up like honestly talking through like a couple things. They had a brand new catalog coming out that Monday or Tuesday. And so she's like, well, what if we just get something from the catalog? And it, obviously nobody has it because their catalog is just coming out. She's like, and we can, you know, try to get it to you guys. I said, you can get it made. I mean, there's like 10 days, right? I'm like, you can get it made and get it from Australia to Texas. And she's like, we're gonna do everything we can. And love my, you know, all the workers at Sylvia P who turned this into reality, and we got to surprise the girls with this Leo. It was our first perfect 10 Leo, I think, from College Gym News, from the Leo things. They I have not gotten a perfect score, and they loved this Leo, which is so funny just because, again, it was one that, yes, we kind of made it into our own, but cannot take credit for the design itself. But yeah, we try to make it very Michigan State, obviously, by just like color pattern. Obviously the huge stones, you can't go wrong with just a lot of sparkle, and so we try to do different things to make it Michigan State. And so it's funny, we were talking about it in the gym actually just today about, because we knew we were coming in, so we were talking all about Leos, and the girls were like, you know, when we go back and look at it, they're like, because we were laughing that it was, you know, a 10, and they were like, it really was beautiful though, like watching, like, you know, rewatching and seeing it in photos and things like that, like it looked good on everybody, you know what I mean? Like it was just, it was so flattering, you know. So even though there wasn't a lot going on, it was basic enough but sparkly enough, and yeah, just to make it a home run. So we agreed, even though we laughed, because they got it done into us literally in like less, in a week, and that was incredible. Because if not, we were gonna have to rewear Leo. How could we? Like, oh my gosh, you know.
Not at nationals.
Not at nationals, right? So not at the first time in so long. So, you know, so that was really cool that, you know, they were able to do that for us. So special, and just, you know, shows how much they really truly value, you know, Michigan State, and making sure that, you know, they do everything they can to make our girls look good. So that was a really special leotard, obviously, just for us to be able to, again, be one of the only teams, I think, in green at, you know, the national championship. So that was another thing. If we didn't have this, we probably would have wore the Leo that we wore at Big Tens, because we wanted to be in green. We called this Leo our 1988 Leo, and this was obviously our throwback Leo. So funny, this is, you know, the original design. This is actually the one that I joked with the girls about, that I said that we were gonna do the first Leo with no stones, or maybe no stones in a long time. So this is the one I joked about, and obviously on it is, this is not the prettiest with no stones, so they kind of looked at me like I was crazy. But even if you look, so this was like the first kind of what they sent over, but I didn't like the way that, like, if you look at this green and the green that is in the mesh are not the same, and so that really bothered me that they, you know, the two greens weren't the same colors. I can't remember. I think this was, oh yeah, we ended up doing mesh here, and I'll tell you something that, I don't know if I want to tell you a secret, but there's actually, I can't stand that these two greens are different. Yeah. But this is what happened. So this one doesn't have the lining, right? And so I didn't think about that. So how this one now has the lining under, so the color is technically different, because this one doesn't have a lining. So now every time you guys see us wear this Leo, you're gonna see that, and it's gonna drive you nuts too. So these are just things, you know, like the little details of things, because that was why I had changed, like when you look at this, right, like why I changed it in the first place, because they originally did it on just like some material, and so they are way different. And even the greens, right, like this wasn't like as dark as I wanted it to be for like our green, and so those are the things that you go back sometimes and you see a Leo and you're like, I wish I could change it again, even though you're all wearing it. But, you know, you can't tell those things, and nobody knows unless you're the one that designed it. But, so story behind this Leo, our 1988 team was the first team ever to qualify to the national championships. And so I designed this Leo last season, again, kind of hoping that that's where our season was going to end up. And then we were in a bloodbath of a regional and didn't have the best meet. So that's life, right? It's gymnastics. So we didn't end up going to the national championships, but we still had this Leo. We actually won regular season Big Ten championship in this Leo. So that was a cool story behind this one, was that we were able to do that. And again, just memory, right? Like every time I see this Leo, I'm like, we went undefeated in the Big Ten, which is crazy, like to think about, like just the growth of our program and how competitive the Big Ten was, like to be able to be undefeated and win the regular season. And that's what I'll always remember now when I see this Leo. And so that was really special, even though it wasn't, you know, it's supposed to be kind of foreshadowing that we were gonna make it to nationals, but you know, that's life sometimes. This Leo, I don't even remember what year I designed it. but it's Alpha Factor because that's who we used before.
I remember Leah Mitchell in this.
Yes, yep. Kalani Jordan.
Shout out.
I know, love her. She actually was back for Big Tens and everything. She comes and we see her. We try to see her often when she's not in the ring. But so this was our shield Leo. So this was kind of supposed to be, again, kind of that Spartan like shield-esque, and the way, if you see like the way this goes, and then kind of like our shield, like the way like this, like, I don't know, like I'm actually gonna tie this look into a newer design, not the brassiness, but kind of the, whatever this V is. I'll kind of show you when I show you the design. But this Leo, again, was a favorite of a lot of the girls on the team. They just loved this Leo. And so it has, as you can see, it's got its use. And so we are officially like retired this Leo, but we're gonna revamp it for this upcoming season. And I have it a little bit done, so I can show you guys a little bit of a sneak peek. It's not officially done, but at least you can see, I'll pull it up on the computer, kind of where we are right now in that process, where it looks the same but different, right? Like we want it to be similar but still be fresh and new. This is the first time that I'm really going to revamp an old Leo. I've never done that before because I just like the newness of something that we've never done. But I think it'll be different enough that it will still feel, fresh and new and fun for all of them. But like I said, this was such a fan favorite, team favorite, that I'm like, okay. Our seniors, I said, if you got to pick one Leo to put in your shadow boxes, what would you pick? And they all said this one. So I was like, okay, if I give all of you guys this one, then I will retire it and we'll just do something. Yeah, revamp. So this is kind of the start. So this is like a picture of kind of what I'm looking to do to revamp. Can even zoom in a little bit because some of the detail work is obviously the most fun. So if you can see, like, this is gonna have some of that, like that V that I talked about, that our actual shield, that like our stick shield has, and then trying to still incorporate the key print logo, because that's obviously different. This is actually going to be like mesh. And this is gonna be like a green and white Leo, where that one is black and green. Okay. This is gonna be all green and white. So we also don't have anything really like that. So
that's super pretty.
Yeah, so I'm working on like some color designs. I can, what? Yeah, me too, we're gonna get food. So this is, like I said, it's not even close to being approved. Abe's. But it will be something like this. Like right now for me, it has way too much white on the shoulders. Like, so I need to find a way to break it up a little bit. And I told them that I wanted to incorporate Go Green into Leo, and then they put it on this one, and I'm like, nah, this isn't the vibe of this Leo, so we're gonna change that. But the nice thing is I can literally just like go over something. So I'm like, can I see the neckline in green and have it continue to crisscross in the back? And then can I see a version with the Spartan head on the back, like the very original, like drawn up concept? Because obviously this changed. And so then I can go into the next one, and then they made this neckline green. And then they added both, where I'm like, I don't want that at all. So like I said, I'm still working through. They're actually waiting for me to give an answer on what I want to do next, actually.
You were live on camera. No, I'm just kidding.
And I haven't, but this is kind of like the, first original, like, kind of steps of where I'm at. So at least you can see this, and then we'll see what it actually looks like this season, because I already know that it's not going to look 100% like this, but yeah, that's kind of the idea, is to try to...
Oh yeah, the Go Green.
Yeah. We'll incorporate it somewhere this year. I'm just not sure where quite yet. As long as Brandon says it okay. I haven't sent this to Brandon either, because I usually don't until I'm closer to. But like, this is mesh. These cutouts here are mesh. This is mesh.
I think that's really pretty.
And again, trying to just do all green and white. You have I just don't know what I'm gonna do, like on the shoulders, right? Like there's too much white.
Mm-hmm.
So
what if you did like a cutout?
I know, something.
Our listeners can weigh in with their.
Yeah, if anybody has ideas, feel free to drop them in, I don't know, in the comments.
Leave a comment down below.
Yeah, leave some comments of what you think, and then we will make the edits. But yeah, all green and white. Again, something that we really haven't done, I guess. I don't know, or at least not the look. So that's working through it. But that's one. So we'll see. Yeah, we're kind of like our warrior shield Leo, something like that. We'll see. That's the other thing. Like now these days, you have to name your Leos. Like you gotta come up with the ideas and then have a name for them.
Does the team help name it, or is it you usually?
You know, when Alina Cartwright worked here, she took on that job to name all of the Leos because at that time that wasn't a thing, and so we named all of them. And then shout out to Devin. She has been my wing woman, and she has helped me name the Leos the last 2 seasons because I just am not I don't love that job. But I will say what we try to do is, depending on the design of the Leo, the name has to, one, match the Leo, but then potentially match the moment and match our team and just who they are. So I feel like we don't just like pick a name. I'm very picky in that I have all of those other things that like go into the name. So we like look up like definitions of things and I don't know, so that it actually is all encompassing of our team and who we are. So hope you guys had a great time following along and learning about the design process for all of our leotards. We definitely have a lot more in store for you this upcoming season. And we hope that you guys are going to follow each step of the way. We have another exciting year coming up too. So if you're not a Spartan fan, get on board. Go green. Like I said, this was a fan favorite, and even of our team, a favorite that the girls love, that the recruits love when they come on campus, right? I feel like they always kind of pick this one to do their photo shoots in. I remember Skyla came on her visit and she was like, can I wear the high neck black Leo? And I'm like, that Leo's old. Like at that time I was like 4 years old. But she was like, I'm obsessed with it, I love it, and that's the Leo she wanted to wear. And so I told them before they graduated we would kind of do an all black Leo remake a little bit. It looks nothing like that Leo, but at least it's all black, so I held up some of my deal. This was a Leo that would never make it through branding anymore because they got rid of kind of this neon green. When they first sent this, I was like, ugh. Yikes, like the color, I was like, that's not quite what I was thinking.
It's a grandma swimsuit.
Yeah, it was, something was wrong with it. And I don't even know if this actually would break the like rules of like uniformity in gymnastics, if like all of the smokiness were like different but the same. So that's what I thought would really be cool at first, like the way this pattern was, if like everybody's was like different but the same.